where we have a bunch of calls going out. So I make sure everything looks good in the database, make sure that Alexis has uploaded things correctly. I return any emails that I've had overnight, send out my emails that I need to have for the rest of the day, and then I go out and check on some projects. Today I'm not attending any appointments with Francis, so he's gonna be doing that on his own. So I'm gonna show you guys, let's see, remember the ugly house that we purchased in Walkertown? We're gonna go look at that house, see what the progress is. They've did some stuff there. I got to go by a property and some other stuff like that, but I'm just gonna take you guys with me. And I gotta go to the courthouse, but I can't take you guys in there because it's a recording device. So we will, we'll go from there. All right, I'll see you guys in a few. So I'm gonna take you by a piece of property. It's a funny story. A guy didn't even know he inherited this property, and he had it for years, and it had some delinquent taxes and stuff on it. Anyways, he paid all the delinquent taxes, but then he lived so far away, he didn't want it. So it has a tax value of like $5,000 or $6,000. And he asked me if I wanted to buy it. I said, yeah, I bought it for 250 bucks. So it's a piece of property that I have just sitting on it. And who knows, maybe 10 years or so from now, it'll be worth something different. Tax value on it, I think it's $5,700. It's not a lot of land. It's on 14th Street. It's not in the best of neighborhoods, but as you can see over here, it's got road frontage. So what I will do, the grass is cut, so I don't have to cut it. We don't have to get it cut. Not until it actually starts to, starts to grow, which it'll be a few more weeks. What I'll do is I'll actually probably put a sign right here, a bigger sign. And what I'll do is probably put for sale, small words, and say, I buy houses and the company's number. Because I own this land, it's a lot of traffic going through here. So it allows me to advertise on it, I guess. You can put a for sale sign on it. That's it. So, I mean, listen, the thing is that, yeah, it's 250 bucks. It's not a lot of money, but that 250 bucks is now worth $5,700. And depending on what somebody wants to do with this plot of land in the next, I don't know, so many amount of years, then, it'll be a $250 investment can turn into a $10,000 payoff in 5 years if somebody wants to do something with this land. Or we'll just buy all of it eventually and do something with it ourselves. So just part of being in, that's why I will never give up wholesaling, no matter what part of investing you want to go into, because it's the foundation of investing. When you're an investor, you never want to buy something at what it's worth. You're always trying to buy it cheaper. And this is a prime example. 250 bucks, we'll hold it for as long as we need to, because we don't need the 250 bucks, obviously. Welcome to the ugliest house in North Carolina. Probably doing some work. I know he knocked down the kitchen wall that we talked about. See, somebody got stuck. No way. Hey, no way.
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey.
Ah, looks good. A lot better, right?
Yeah.
So as you can see right here, this kitchen had a wall here and it just had that small thing. When we knocked this down, able to go all the way around now, right? Makes it a lot different. Huge. This is the washer dryer connection. We're gonna move it over there, huh? So we're gonna change the washer and dryer to that room. Nice, nice. So as you can see, this property already has a fence, has a chain link fence standard. What we're going to do is take this down, put a 6-foot white vinyl fence so that you can't see all that misery back there with the creek. And then there's a little sinkhole that we're going to fix there just because of erosion. So as you can see this. All right, so this is what we're going to label the Ugly House project. You just see Noe doing some of the initial demo on the project. He's probably going to be doing that for probably another day or two. And then once he does that, we're going to actually bring in the crews, start doing the steps and the processes that I don't take care of that stuff. That is all Francis. He deals with that. He's flipped well over 100 houses. So I let him deal with it. I just like to show you guys the update of the project. All right, so my buddy from On Carrot, Investor Carrot, Adrian, asked me to co-host with him the weekly Carrot cast or Carrot call that they have every week for Carrot members. He asked me to come on and talk about what most people call virtual assistants, or I call remote employees. So I'm gonna do that real quick. This should last about 35, 40 minutes or so, and then onto some other stuff because the day keeps going. Yeah, so I mean, my virtual assistants, and I can use that word, but what I like to call them is my employees. They just happen to work remotely. They're a big part of my business. I have been using a remote employee probably about 4 months into my business. And the first thing I started doing was just admin work, simple admin work. They weren't full-time. They were just complete tasks for me. One, either I didn't know how to complete myself on Excel sheet, or just, certain stuff like that. And go to present day now, I have 4 full-time remote employees, and they pretty much run my entire business. They're my first point of contact for any new lead that calls in. They're also my first point of contact for an outbound call. I truly, there is correct. There is that negative stigma with the word virtual assistant, and that's just because people have underprepared themselves to go prepared to train a virtual assistant or train an employee. You can easily train chaos and confusion, especially if you don't know how to do it. So one of the things that I would say when most people, because I run a Facebook group, I'm pretty sure you're a member in there, and a lot of people I see that they say, hey, look, I'm looking to hire a VA, and I know that person just started wholesaling 2 months ago. And my first question is, what are you looking for that VA to do? Oh, well, I need them to do outbound calls. Well, my question is, do you know how to do outbound calls? Because you can't expect that person to learn from out of the middle of nowhere. All you're doing when you hire outside of the United States, most of the time, is just taking advantage of the strong dollar versus somebody else's dollar. So when you can pay somebody $5, $6 an hour versus, $15 to $20 in America and still get just as good as output or better, then that's all you're doing. So you wouldn't hire a $15, $20 employee to do cold calls if you couldn't show them or train them how to cold call. So, what I did, and I think what other people should do as well when they're looking for virtual assistant or remote employees, is to be able to actually teach what they want this person to do. Because your expectations can be high, but you can't train the person because you don't know what to do. So master what you're trying to train before you let it go. And I think if you do that, then you're going to have great results. When you're hiring somebody, and I take it very seriously when I'm hiring somebody, my remote employees depend on that paycheck Friday. So first of all, I'm not going to take on the responsibility of hiring somebody if I know I can't pay them for that longevity. And another thing is, I get to know my employees to know what their goals and their expectations is. Because my first remote employee, she still works for me today, her aspirations was not to work for me forever. She wanted to grow an actual virtual assistant company to help other investors because she was so knowledgeable. Yeah, and one thing you touched on is loyalty is a big thing. I know I'm not the biggest player in this game when it comes to this. And I'm so open and so given. I talk about who my virtual assistants and who my remote employees are. And I know the guys that can afford more than I'm spending will actually go out. And I know they have reached out to Alexis, and she's never told me, but I know they have reached out to her to take her. But because I am more than just a boss or employer to her, because I care about her family, what she does on the weekend, you know, that other stuff, she's so loyal to me. And then she comes to me with ideas, you know, hey, have you ever thought about going after the fire department report for houses that are burnt down? Those are things I don't even think about. So that means when we have our meetings, she's at home thinking about how to improve the company. All my employees, they care because I care about them. And that's the main thing, is to find somebody you can enjoy spending, because we have meetings just like this right here to talk about what can happen. But a lot of people, what I say before you go hire a virtual assistant, learn what you want them to do. This business changes too fast and too often to not be open-minded. I'm willing to test anything for a little while, you know, because it's always changing, and you gotta be on. When people zig, you gotta find out where the zag is, because that's how you make the money in this business.